And I didn't accept that as a slur or an insult. I understood, she said, honestly, you wouldn't understand. Well, later it hit me that what they were probably talking about is from another dimension. And several times I've confronted them in my relationship and asked them, where the hell are you from? You know, a planet, star system, even another galaxy. Did you know that the real Galactic Federation headquarters is not even in our galaxy? Now, you put that in their pipes and let them smoke that and see what kind of response you get. I mean, we're not talking about interplanetary, interstellar. We're talking about intergalactic. We're talking about interdimensional. All of the above. And our authorities have known this since before I retired in '76. But anyhow, she said very, very honestly, no, we're not from here. You wouldn't understand. And I shared with you. She came up to me in San Jose, at the Bay Area. Didn't see him. She came up and she came over and ran across the room. She said, they didn't believe you when you told them, did they? They didn't believe you when you told them. And I says, no, they didn't believe me.
You actually shared that at our Awake and Aware conference.
Did I?
So this had to be after that.
And she says, that was to be expected. Don't worry about it.
Okay, well, okay, what do you want to say?
Just one more. In any of these encounters, have they ever specifically told you a message like, this is what we want you to say, or this is what we would like for you to do? Have they given you any specific instructions, or is it just, hi, we're friends, just to let you know we're here?
Well, I've gotten a great deal of what I'm doing has met approval. I've got a great deal of what I'm doing has pleased them. This apparently, I've gotten this from what I gather to be a rather high spiritual level. That what I'm doing is what I came to do. What I'm doing is crucial and important. What I'm doing is necessary. And what I'm doing is making a difference. Which is why I came out of 5 years of seclusion.
What I want to know is if you can talk about what you have learned about the future from these individuals and or from meetings or, you know, these whistleblowers in essence that have come up to you behind the scenes from the military and been talking to you. Because we did an interview and you talked about Nibiru, but I mean beyond that. Are you being told what some of the plans are? Are you being told, for instance, about China and a future war, such that we have a recent whistleblowers talking about what he calls the Anglo-Saxon agenda, in which a nuclear war is actually planned. And my belief is that these kinds of things will be stopped, but we have gotten other information from people like Pete Peterson that indeed that these are on the agenda and that they may be allowed to transpire in certain ways.
I'll tell you what I've gotten for what it's worth. We do have a future, and it's glorious. And I think I said that in Spain last year. We're in for some difficult times. This transition through this adolescence into adulthood as a species is going to be painful, and there are going to be some difficult and awkward times. But no, there is not going to be a nuclear war because they're not going to allow it. Because the planet is too valuable. The flora and fauna in this zoological garden is too precious. And they have already intervened several times. They've made their point during the Reagan administration. They made it to Gorbachev when he was in office. They've made the point many times. They made it at Rendlesham Forest, Bentwater, when they melted the warheads, they've made the point that we're not going to allow you nitwits to start a mess, a holocaust that's going to end up halfway destroying this beautiful, beautiful planet. Now, you've messed it up bad enough as it is with your garbage, and your, but no, there's not going to be a nuclear war, and they're not going to allow it because, frankly, we don't own the planet. And this little tidbit came out of all places in a movie called The Day the Earth Stood Still. The second one came out when Klaatu, whatever his name was, says, you don't own this planet. This planet is not yours. And that little tidbit was dropped in the middle of that movie. And as I say, I include that in this subliminal education program. Okay, same with Avatar.
But Bob, are you being made aware that there is also a war going on in between various ET groups?
I know there is a struggle going on, but it is not a full-scale war.
Okay.
There is a struggle between one group. Apparently they've got a divided family. The clan the clan has been divided for a long time.
You're talking about the Anunnaki
Yeah,
in terms
yeah.
of situation.
There's been this, I call it dysfunctional family situation. And that's been going on, and we've been in the middle of that before. Well, that's still going on. But I have learned, and I will point this out, and I want it made it clear on the tape, that there is a hierarchy out there. And there are intelligences in the hierarchy above us that have an agenda of their own. Among the different groups that are coming and going, some of them have an agenda of their own. But there is a hierarchy here, and I have learned this firsthand, and I have been urged to share this, that there is a hierarchy out there that is predominantly spiritual. And we're talking about, type 4 civilization. The kind of people that we would refer to as angelic. Our ancestors would have deified them. Our ancestors, for God's sake, deified the Anunnaki. And they sure as hell weren't gods. They were as rotten in many ways as we are today.
And
but there is a
Anunnaki,
spiritual hierarchy
I understand.
there. And this planet and this race, this species, and the life form on this planet is so precious that this planet was terraformed. Life was introduced here as a part of a plan. Now that plan is still underway. And now the higher levels in that hierarchy have apparently grabbed some of the lower levels above us, grabbed them by the shirt and gotten their attention and said, hey, you ain't going to be able to pull this off anymore because we're not going to let you screw it up. You screwed it up when you genetically manipulated them and engineered them as a slave race, and now you're going to contribute to making sure that they can make this evolutionary jump, which they are about to make as a species. And this hierarchy out there, I would say, is where this lovely young man from Galilee incarnated from.
Okay, so you're talking about six-dimensional beings.
Oh my God, we're talking about beings from a higher dimensional level.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so what do you know about, for example, the children that disappear off the planet?
Not children. Not just children. You don't have any idea how many
adults as well,
people
but
disappear every year?
Especially the children, yes. So have you been talked to about that?
Hundreds of thousands disappear.
That's right.
Many of them, it's a matter of choice. Many of them would like to get the hell out of here. A lot of them are taken and taken to other places.
Right.
They are, many of them are alive and well in other places.